Welcome to the regular Menthol podcast where we discuss Kino movies. My name is Tate and my co-host here is Chris.
Hello, everybody.
We give a little thoughts on the movie, our experience with it growing up, and then we discuss specific scenes that we liked, followed up with a Keynote rating. The movie that we're talking about this week is 1997's Face Off, starring Nicolas Cage and John Travolta.
Nice. Very nice.
So, what do you got going on here, King? I mean, how you feeling tonight?
Feeling good. Feeling a little tired. It's been a pretty long week, but I'm packing to go to the beach for a week with my family. Get my one vacation of the year. But yeah, we're heading down to Lower Virginia Beach. Very quiet beach town that's down there. And yeah, man, I'm excited for it. Got all my bros going. I'm the youngest of four boys. So we take my parents down and, all my brothers and their kids and stuff and wives. So yeah, it's cool. It's kind of interesting because growing up, we'd be, go to the Outer Banks and it would be all about skateboarding and doing all that stuff, which is pretty cool. And, it's like right before school starts. So you go to like the local surf shop if you'd ever done that and get like new gear for the new school year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like now we're doing that with our kids, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, man, I'm excited. Hopefully, do some fishing, some surf fishing, some pier fishing.
Yeah,
we're right
fishing going on.
Oh yeah, we're right down the road from a pier, which is pretty awesome. Like, there's nothing better growing up than like going to the pier, like smoking cigs when you're underage, and just fishing all day at the beach. That was pretty awesome. That was like our thing. But yeah, I'll try to get some fishing in and whatnot. But yeah, mainly just relax and get away from work. But that's about it. How about yourself?
Got nothing really going on. I mean, I'm extremely wired because I didn't sleep, and I defeated an enemy on the road tonight at a stop sign showdown. It's kind of rad.
Go on.
Stop sign showdowns when I get to a stop sign at the same time as someone else, and I just don't go. I refuse to go. No matter how long we sit there.
A standoff, basically.
Yeah, a little bit of a standoff. And I'm flashing my lights at him, and he still didn't go. And then eventually I just gave him a quick little wave. And then he was like, grumpy. He was like, all right, I'll go. And was like, you could see the frustration in these guys' faces when they eventually concede and just go.
You think they know? They're doing the same thing?
Not consciously, but subconsciously they know. They don't want to go. If they're the ones that maybe they get there a split second before me, right? So they have the right of way, but they're being a nice guy. And waving me on, right? And I'm like, no, I don't need that. I don't need your nice guy attitude. You go.
Nice guy, Eddie. Have you ever lost one of these?
Yeah, I've lost one where we literally sat there for 2 minutes staring at each other in an awkward showdown. This might sound completely insane to people. I don't know. But does anyone else out there do this where they get to a stop sign and refuse to go? I mean, do you do this at all?
I do not, but I'm sure it's thought that I do this.
Has it ever occurred to you to do this?
I'm the opposite guy. I'm trying to roll through. Like if I get there slightly first, I'm bitching if they try to go before me. I'm just going to run that on.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, if you're there long enough, someone's going to be behind you honking, are they not?
Yeah. I mean, I had an insane case of this in Manayunk years ago, but, I guess my whole thing with driving now is I'm just doing the opposite.
Smart.
I'm cozy maxing. I'm refusing to go at stop signs now. I'm losing my mind. This is a downward path that I'm it's starting with my driving, just going complete lazy mode.
Remind me again what cozy maxing is?
Cozy maxing is when you're driving on the highway and no matter how slow the person in the right lane is going, you just don't pass them. You just go in the right lane the whole time.
Nice. I like it.
But the whole point of it is I have nowhere to be. I have no time. Like, I could get home at 8:00. It would make no difference. It could be a 2-hour drive. And when I get home, it would make absolutely no difference because like nothing's happening. I'm just going to sit here and do work or whatever. And there's no time frame on it.
Time is a flat circle.
Anyway, folks, cozy maxing. What are you rushing for, right?
What do we talk to me about this movie? Tell me a little description of this thing.
This movie is about two rivals who really hate each other, decide to swap identities in some kind of plastic surgery gone wrong in order to run around yelling and touching people's faces. After an hour doing this and getting into shootouts with each other, they decide to take a boating trip together, much to the chagrin of the harbor patrol. In the end, one of them shoots a harpoon at the other one, killing him while yelling, "Guy!" and swapping faces back again.
That's it. That's the movie.
There you have it.
Folks. Talked about the first time you saw this thing.
It is another situation where I just watched this on the couch where my dad rented Face Off from Orland Video. I don't really remember the specifics exactly. I definitely remember seeing commercials when this was coming out, though, for it in theaters. And I was just like, the premise for this movie is so absurd that I'm having a hard time believing that this is going to be serious. But they're playing it off as a serious movie, but
it is.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah, I remember
that was my memory.
Yeah, I was probably like 12 years old or so when I watched this. I'm sure it was on TV, and it was one of those where I was watching it and I'm like, this is badass. Just all the explosions and whatnot. I don't know. I just one of those where I have a very distinct memory of seeing these two on screen.
Yeah.
Like, this is so cool. I don't know if I was the target audience back then for this movie, but yeah, I was definitely into it as a kid.
Yeah.
Which leads us to who is the literally you character of this film?
Dude, I'm Castor Troy, dog. I'm Castor Troy, dog. I mean, I like to believe. See, the thing about Castor Troy in this movie is that he looks like it's Nicolas Cage. To me, this is not an action hero. He looks like just some random dude.
Right.
Right. But he's this super will-powered Ubermensch character. He's the ultimate badass.
Right.
It gives hope to all us schlubs out there.
Yeah.
That if we just get our act together, we can achieve great things.
Are you talking about just his body and his
body, his face, his receding hairline? Like he's not the perfect picture of a leading man in an action movie to me.
Right.
Even though he just did Con Air and The Rock, but like he doesn't seem like an action hero. Anyway, point I'm trying to make is,
but it is a good point because I don't know if you knew this, but initially this movie was supposed to star Schwarzenegger and Stallone.
Yeah.
Right. Until they brought in Wu as the director, and he just completely flipped it. He's like, nah, it's going to be these two, which I don't know about you, but I could not see this movie being Stallone, not only because I love it with these two as the lead roles, but could you see this picture as Schwarzenegger and Stallone as the number one terrorist guy in the world against the top ace detective agent?
Honestly, like if I think about it without the 90s colored glasses on, I could see that the concept of this movie seems more Stallone Schwarzenegger, but after the fact, after we've seen it so many times since the 90s and everything, it's like, no, you can't imagine anyone but Cage and Travolta, because this movie is a mediocre story where the fact that it's Cage and Travolta being completely insane, and they just stuff as much crazy, goofy stuff in this movie as possible, it supersedes the mediocre story.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
But if you think about it, I think the concept could make a Stallone Schwarzenegger movie. Like if you're taking it off these guys' faces, and they're both like big guys, right? So it would make sense. They have the same body type and everything.
Yeah, I guess
we'll get to that, but
yeah, but well, no, I'm just saying it's like let's say, for argument's sake, that Stallone is the terrorist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where is he finding time to do 8-hour arm workouts in the gym if he's a genius at making bombs and coming up with terrorist plans? Riddle me that.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. But then I guess you could probably say that about a lot of Stallone movies. Like, how much time does it take to look like Stallone in his prime? How much time does it take for Arnold to look like that? Now, Arnold, we know his workouts and everything from when he was doing Olympia. He was training twice a day or whatever.
Yeah.
How much steroids and eating is involved, you know? So that's why I guess if you look at special forces guys, they don't exactly look like Arnold.
Yeah.
They look like some slimmed down, maybe they look like Cage, you know?
I don't even think the character in Over the Top could be achieved because this guy's on the road all day, right? When's he working out? Stallone and Over the Top.
Well, we're assuming back then that these guys aren't just blasting steroids and working out all the time.
Right.
There's a naive assumption that this is an actual achievable physique natty.
Right.
Right? Like, I don't think steroids were super in the public consciousness back then, but
no, I don't think so at all.
It's a compelling thought, is like any of these movies with Stallone or Schwarzenegger, wait a second, these dudes are jacked and ripped, which would require hours a day workout. Where are they finding the time to be like a cliffhanger?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll tell you who my literally main character is. It's my boy Pollux, the ultimate virgin in this movie. Pollux Troy. Yeah, dude, that dude, he just has like good delivery in this movie and this kind of this mystique. I don't know, he's kind of standoffish, but I like when he's grilling, Castor Troy, which is when Sean's in his body, kind of grilling him like he can tell something's wrong. He's kind of like Brains, I don't know, but I like him. You know who he gives me vibes of? Giovanni Ribisi.
Yeah.
And that's
an actor. Where has Giovanni Ribisi gone? Can you come back to us?
He's one of those guys.
I know you're out there listening. Come back to us.
One of those guys who just vanished off the face of the earth, but it's like, that guy is on my underrated Hall of Fame for sure. Mm-hmm. I don't know about Mount Rushmore, but he's definitely in the Hall of Fame.
He's up there for sure. I totally agree on that statement.
Yeah, that guy can't do anything wrong.
We have to kind of establish what the Mount Rushmore is, because it's like actors that aren't totally well known, I guess.
I'll tell you what the Mount Rushmore is. So there's a Hall of Fame of great actors who aren't, Hollywood heartthrobs, or they could be, I guess, but they're not A-listers who they just book whatever they want, or, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So they're guys who just they just send it, for lack of a better term, on every movie that they do, right?
Yeah.
And they're just really, really good in whatever they're going to be in. For example, I would say at least one of the faces on the Mount Rushmore would be Philip Seymour Hoffman, right? Mm-hmm. I think he's a good one. I think Sam Rockwell. Those are two of the four. But yeah, it's just that type of actor who just kills it on anything that they do.
The reason I asked that is because the next thing is Nicolas Cage an A-list actor?
I guess he is. I mean, but it makes you question it because it's National Treasure. Was that that was a movie that was in the theaters? It had a theatrical run. Was that a great movie? But I think I know where you're going with this. I've never even
seen that movie, dog. How crazy is that?
I think I've seen one of them, but I think you're going to say he had a run, right? Mm-hmm. And where he was really good, because he was really good in a couple movies. But to be fair to him, I'm a big fan of anything he does. I've seen some recent ones that are just kind of weird B maybe like straight to DVD movies that are actually really good. And it's only because this guy gets so into the character, and he might not be the best, but he gets so into it that it sells.
Oh, I think he's awesome, like to present day.
Yeah.
But at some point, the question then becomes like, at some point, he's not an A-list actor anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Like he, at some point, because he did in the 90s, he's doing The Rock, he's doing Con Air, and he's doing Face Off. These are all like huge summer blockbusters, right?
Right.
But then at some point, like he falls off and he tapers off because he National Treasure was like a big movie, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But my conception of an A-list actor is big budget Hollywood movies.
Yeah. And it's really, really rare that you see one of those guys do it his entire career. You have like, I think we said the other week, Brad Pitt's, like the top guys who just have a
Tom
Cruise, these guys that can go forever. But you look at this and even have Travolta. He's fallen off. He was an A-lister back then. So I could make the argument. I could make the argument that Cage, even though he's doing these, they're like B movies now, but some of them are a little up there. Some of them have theatrical runs. I could argue that he's been an A-lister longer than the majority of actors.
I agree. We have to. The reason I ask is because, we're coming up with this Mount Rushmore and everything of all our hero actors that aren't really A-list actors, but they're awesome.
Yeah.
Talent-wise, they're incredible. And it's like Cage is like right on that bubble of, do you put him in the Mount Rushmore? But maybe you can't because he was such an A-lister in the 90s, he's right on the bubble.
Right, yeah. It's the same argument that if you're talking sports where Eli Manning, should he be if there's any football fans out there, should Eli Manning be in the Hall of Fame?
Right,
he was good, but he won Super Bowls. He's kind of that guy, you know what I mean? To relate it to another industry. But yeah, man. But this movie in general, it's just completely insane. You could bring a good point up about Woo, the director.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little more on that.
Yeah, I mean, John Woo is known for doing these Hong Kong action movies that are super over the top, these shootouts that go on forever, guys shooting infinite rounds and everything. And they give him Broken Arrow, which also starred Travolta. And then I think at this movie, they were like, dude, just go wild. Here's infinite money. Green light, dog. Just do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And look at the result. I feel like this movie is not, on paper, is not that great. And then it's like, dude, what makes this movie incredible is the direction, the actors, the completely insane over the top stuff going on. And someone made a decision somewhere where they're like, let's just throw as much crazy stuff into this movie as possible.
Yeah. And
right.
I would say about, the effects on this, like the practical effects and the explosions, they're a little bit aggressive. You just constantly see pyrotechnics. There's probably 4 scenes with shootouts and all that where there's a lot of bullets that are redirecting and pinging, and they're just, ricochets, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And you see a lot of sparks flying. It's a very rare thing you'll see, but in this movie, they're dime a dozen. So I will say that might come off as, but it's a very 90s thing, and it works for me in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, it works for me as well. They should just keep giving this guy infinite money to make infinite movies because they're awesome.
Yeah.
Like, did you ever see any of his Hong Kong action movies with like Chow Yun-fat?
No.
Like you ever? There's one movie, Hard Boiled, where it's a whole movie that's basically a shootout.
Right.
It's like one giant movie that is a shootout. It's insane. And then A Better Tomorrow, I think it's called. It's the one where Chow Yun-fat is like lighting $100 bill with a cigarette. Did you ever see that?
I think I may
He's got like a cigarette and he's like lighting $100 bill.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, why don't we have more of this? You know, I guess John Wick is kind of like that style. I don't know. But back to that. Well, so think about like John Woo then does Mission Impossible 2 after this, right? And Mission Impossible 2 has its very own unique flavor among all the Mission Impossible movies. And it's a John Woo movie, dude. It's just completely over the top and insane.
You know what you're gonna
get. The thing with John Wick, I feel like they take it a little bit too seriously.
Yeah.
Whereas, dude, John Woo, like he's like, yeah, this is like cartoonish. Yes, that's what I'm doing.
That's what I'm going for.
I'm like, yeah, dude, like I need more of this in Hollywood. Let an artist do work.
Let him cook. On the subject of shootouts, let's get some loadout check from this movie as a whole. I mean, talk to me about starting with his dueling gold-plated. What are they? Berettas?
No, I mean, John Woo is known for Berettas. I've seen an interview where he loves Berettas for some reason. He thinks they look cool.
You're the only person who watched that interview, by the way. Nobody else ever.
He broke protocol in this movie, but it doesn't matter because it's still cool. He gives Castor Troy dual gold-plated Springfield Armory 1911s.
They're 1911s, okay.
And he carries it in a holster that's on the small of his back.
Hell yeah.
It's very custom holster and everything. It's very cool. Very like he put a lot of thought into what would this guy's guns be?
Yeah.
What would this terrorist that wears flashy clothes?
Well, look at the box that he opens up when he gets to the airstrip. It's like he has his necessities, chiclets, these guns, a couple joints, and a clip. I don't even know. What the hell was that clip, by the way? It's like a giant money clip, but it's like gold with like teeth or something. I don't know. But to your point, he put a lot of thought in this character. And I wouldn't even be surprised if Cage was part of that whole process of picking out what's in that box.
I wouldn't be surprised. A little input from yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of the people in this movie, I really think they put thought into what guns are these guys going to rock. And I appreciate that as some schizophrenic gun nut, but also we'll go on IMFDB.
Yeah, explain to people what IMFDB is.
It's a site. If you just Google guns and movies, the first result, IMFDB.com, and you put in any movie into this search engine, and it'll tell you every gun that is in the movie. It's completely insane. So I remember going on this. This is how I got into guns. Is I watched Collateral, and I was like, "What gun is this dude rocking?" And this is like 2006. And I'm like, let me just Google this. And I find this website that just shows you every gun. And I'm like, dude, what? And I just go looking through, like, let me look at this movie. But, yeah, like every gun in this movie is well thought out. I mean, we'll get into it more later because there's just crazy loadouts on each character. But even like Travolta's character has a SIG 226. And that's, I don't know what, the FBI sidearm was at the time, but it's like even they put a little thought into it because it's a dual tone 226. It's like, yeah, Travolta, he's an FBI guy. He's, you know, one of the good guys, but he goes off script every now and then. He's not afraid to get a little crazy.
Do we see any Tech 9s in this? This is my favorite 90s gun, the fact that everybody had a Tech 9.
I don't think there's a Tech 9 in this movie. I could be wrong. This is a million guns in this movie, but Tech 9s they are rad. It's like this pistol that you could get in the 90s where it was like a 30 round mag or whatever. It was one of the only pistols you could get a giant magazine for, which I guess people love to buy to do crime with.
Well,
but
what was the gun that, if you remember the scene where they're leaving the church, about to be on the boat chase, I think Travolta drops the gun and Cage picks it up and shoots at him. But it's like a pistol, but it's like...
It's some kind of machine pistol. I was watching this and exactly that moment. I'm like, well, I have to look that up. And it's some gun that I've never heard of. It's some Russian gun, which is really weird because where would they get just this random Russian machine pistol? Like, why would Sean Archer, or I guess Castor Troy at the time, why would he, who's working in the FBI, have access to this really random, unless he's just a gun collector? I don't know. But yeah, it makes no sense that this gun's in the movie. I assumed that it was a Glock with a switch on it at first, but it wasn't. It was some weird Russian gun.
Well, what was the, did you take notice of the gun in the opening scene? Which, by the way, this opening scene is completely depressing to me. He's sniping. It's with the music and everything kind of comes together. But yeah, he tries to take out, what's his character name? Sean Archer. Like, first let's unpack the fact that, okay, you have these two characters, Sean Archer and Castor Troy. And then not only that, but Pollux Troy. This is just another instance of the 80s and 90s having the most Kino character names. Do you hear these character names anymore? How bland are character names nowadays?
They're really bland. You think like there's some guy writing this script. Yeah. And he's like, dude, what would like a good guy's name be at the FBI who's out for vengeance? Sean Archer. You know, like it's so strange, but it makes me think, like, if you're a screenwriter, how do you come up with a guy's name?
Right? Like, that's what I'm always thinking, dude, when I watch these movies.
You have the story in your head, right? You kind of have it figured out on how the story arc's going to go and different plot points. But like, how do you come up with the guy's name? Right?
You just think of a couple of the most badass things and just piece them together. You just have this list of like badass first names and then badass last names and then just throw darts at it.
Right.
That's it. That's the only way.
I mean, if I had to guess back then, it was just cocaine time. Let the cocaine, exactly. Let the cocaine do the thinking, dog.
Let it talk, right? Yeah. But this opening scene. So again, I don't know if you even saw the loadout on that rifle, but the rifle, it would now correct me if I'm wrong. You're the expert on guns, but it seems like he's shooting him from fairly close enough.
Yeah.
He shoots him through the back of the chest, although it's on his right side, not his heart, and then it kills the kid. Wouldn't that kill Travolta too, or Sean Archer?
Very likely. I mean, imagine if you got shot in the back.
Right.
Okay. And it went through. The ballistics on that would be the entry wound is going to be, small. Mm-hmm. But the exit wound is like it explodes out.
Right.
Right. So he's got this tiny scar on his chest and everything. Like that would be a giant hole.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd be dead, I assume, but he just kind of falls over and just brute force takes it.
Sean Archer, bro.
It's kind of wild to think about. That, I mean, I'm watching this. You kind of nitpick at stuff when you're watching it, and I'm like, how did he survive that? I don't know.
We're going to be doing a lot of nitpicking on this one, but it's with love. I mean, trust me, it's with love. And more to the point is, what's up with this mustache that Castor Troy's rocking in this opening scene?
So, like, I have a theory on this movie, and that is some guy in the production of this movie decided to just throw as much crazy stuff as possible in the movie. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes total sense, but one of the things is they're seeing this scene, they're like, yeah, this is a great scene and everything on paper.
Let's amp this up a little.
What if, we got to make this crazier. So why don't we have you wear a mustache? And then, no, don't worry. You won't have the mustache the rest of the movie. We'll just have it in this one scene.
I'll do you one better. I'll do you one better. It was Nick Cage who was like, okay, hear me out. I'm going to have a mustache in this scene. Like, no, we don't really want the character to have a mustache. All right, well, it's non-negotiable. Opening scene, and that's that.
Yeah.
I'll take it off for the rest of the movie.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because I kind of like the idea of an actor just, adding some kind of weird thing into movies.
This happens all the time.
A scene. Even though it's completely unnecessary, it's just funny.
Yeah. They felt necessary.
But that's not the only instance in this movie where I think that's happened. We'll get to the different instances and everything, but I think a recurring theme that I keep coming across in this movie is I think they just added a bunch of stuff to make it crazier.
Yeah. Why not? You said
besides the surface level stuff.
Yeah, that's his brand as a director.
But it's like in this movie they were like, dude, you have a green light to do anything you want.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. Well, if that's the case, let me make this insane. Let me make it way crazier than it is on the page.
Another weird thing in this opening scene is, I know this bugs you, I heard it in the intro, is he rubs his son's face.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So this is a plot device that they're using in this movie that's completely unnecessary. And they establish it early on. And another recurring theme in this movie is they keep trying to relate things that are happening in the movie back to the fact that the title of the movie is called Face Off. Mm-hmm. So they have Archer doing this whole thing in this movie where he goes up to someone's face and like puts his hand on their face and, like rubs down. And I mean, I don't know. I don't understand what exactly is going on because I've never seen anyone do this in real life. It's completely abnormal. The reason that they're doing it is because they're setting up later that when he's got Castor Troy's face on, people will think, oh, well, how can I believe that you're Castor Troy? Like, oh, here's how to believe me. I'll do this face thing to you. Because I'm the only psycho in the world that actually does this weird shit with my hand on your face. But then it's completely unnecessary because he also gives the story about their first date.
Right.
And the blood type.
Yeah, that whole thing got me where, they're using this thing, like you said, and when he's trying to explain who he is to his wife, bro, just tell her the story about chipping your tooth or where she chipped her tooth on her first date or whatever.
Yeah.
Say that from the get, bro. Save yourself all this trouble. And then her having to stab him with this little pricker thing to get his blood type and take it into the lab. It's like, what? It's talk about a long way.
Can you imagine? Dude, the funny thing is that in that scene, she's like, I don't know what to believe. And like, maybe you're both dead or something. And it's like, can you imagine if they went into a clone? That's what Face Off 2 should be, is clones of these dudes. We figured out new technology where we can now clone. We can clone you as Castor Troy. And there's 50 versions of Castor and Sean Archer running around.
Dude, I know your big thing for you is crazy faces in movies, and I'm going to put this on the thumbnail for the episode, but it's this scene where they're, going down the runway with this private jet. And the best part about this, by the way, is, we always joke about Bane posting, which is Dark Knight Rises, right? And the opening scene to that might be the most insane scene in movie history. We love it, but he's about to throw the guy out of the plane and he just shoots his gun out of nowhere. Kudos to this movie because he's going to throw the chick out and he just shoots her and then throws her out. And then she gets run over by the tire. I just love that little added piece of where he just shoots her and then throws her out.
It's like an extra FU to Sean Archer. And they're communicating this via a runway where they're chasing each other, one in a plane, one in a Humvee.
Which the chase is completely insane. But my point was the face that he gives him when he looks back. Because Sean was trying to save the chick and he's like, sorry.
Whoopsie. Did I do that?
10 times better with his hair blowing in the wind, his little kind of whatever the hell that is on the top of his head, just blowing in the wind. It looks completely insane. But he gives you Cage level faces in this movie that I know you love.
Yeah, there's so many of them. I mean, there's a ton of scenes where he has these insane faces. That's definitely the best one though, is where he just gives this smug smirk after he shoots this lady.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that scene is pretty wild where I love this character because say what you will, man, but he plays this character throughout the whole movie, right? And he just goes completely insane. And this is just Nick Cage being Nick Cage, right? To where, you talk about that whole shootout scene in the hangar. I mean, that's just completely, the guy is just, all he has to do is he could keep theoretically the pilot alive and try to redirect the plane, but he just doesn't care. He's Castor Troy, just shoots him in the head. And then he just runs the plane into this thing. He's like, I'll take my chances just having a shootout, right? It's just, and then the shootout in there is completely insane.
Yeah, there's sparks flying. There's guys on wires.
There's a lot of that in this movie. Guys on wires.
It's pretty absurd. I mean, the most absurd thing is I'm watching this and there's a guy, one of the FBI guys has Castor Troy dead to rights.
Right.
He's got his gun pulled on him.
I know what you're talking about.
Castor Troy is looking the other way. All of a sudden, Sean Archer runs up behind this guy. He's like, get down! And jumps on his back. And Castor Troy, it gives Castor like a time to be like, what just happened? And turns around and then just starts shooting at the both of them. And you're like, dude, imagine you're that FBI guy. Well, like, bro, why did you just jump on my back?
It was slow motion, so he actually had even more time to turn around. But no, I hear you, man. It's completely insane. Logically to think about, why would they have this happen?
Yeah.
Why not just have Sean catch him? You know what I mean? Behind him, and then Castor sees him, a reflection off of something, and sees him coming up. That would work better.
The only explanation being that Archer wanted to be the one that killed Castor Troy.
Yeah.
But it's almost too much to accept, dude.
Nah, yeah. it's over the top, dude. I don't like it. But that's the scene too with the shootout where I was talking about Tech Nines, right? I think Collix is rocking some kind of what I thought was a Tech 9. Is that not?
No, it's a VZ Scorpion. It's this Russian little, again, machine pistol. It's known for, I think Jill Valentine from Resident Evil. That's her guns. But, very kind of obscure thing. I think it was much more popular in the 90s, to be honest. The VZ Scorpion. Obscure.
Well, but talking about,
a lot of guns are from the 90s.
True. Yeah. Well, we're talking about effects as well, and how they get Castor Troy was he gets blown into this. What is that even? Like I guess the
wind tunnel.
The wind tunnel. The turbine goes off and shoots him into the wind tunnel or something like that. I don't even remember, but that's actually effects wise, it kind of struck me as okay.
Yeah, that was rad.
Yeah, it didn't bother me.
Totally, dude. That was a cool scene. He gets sidekicked into this like tunnel of wind, and I'm like, why is that even in there at all? I don't understand why that thing's in there. Is it attached to a plane?
Not to mention,
I don't think it is. It's attached to these like buttons on the side.
Dude should be dead. He should be dead if he's hitting it at that speed. It's like knocked out.
Oh,
unconscious for like 10 minutes. It's
all his bones in his spine are just shattered from hitting that.
Cripple at that point. But yeah, I mean, I think this is what never sat well with me with this movie is, so then they get him in there. I mean, there's this whole production about how Sean doesn't want to do it and he has to be talked into it and yada, yada, yada. But they eventually do the face off, and they're basically taking, and for lack of, I don't want to like confuse myself, but you have John Travolta and Nicolas Cage, and they're just taking off each other's faces, and you're putting Nicolas Cage's face on John Travolta's body, John Travolta's face on Nicolas Cage's body.
Yeah.
Explain to me how you're not just going to notice that, and I'm referencing the very last scene where they fight. Yeah, dude, Travolta's body is like way beefier than Nick Cage, who's kind of scrawny in this movie. Not to mention their hairline. Like, what's going on there? That just kind of confused me. I would never, because at the end there, I would think that he's trying not to kill him because he wants to save the body. Like, that's the way my brain was working in the moment. I'm like, oh, dude, you got to save his body because you got to get your body back. Am I crazy on this?
No, you're not. And they do a very poor job explaining this, but there's like a couple lines that the doctor gives where he says to Sean Archer, he's like, hey, we'll give you liposuction and we'll cut your hair to make it look like Castor Troy, Nick Cage.
Okay.
Right?
I must have missed that.
It was very quick, very right before he goes into surgery. However, it doesn't matter because Nick Cage wakes up and he doesn't have a face, right? So he's like, okay, put his face on me.
Yeah.
But then how does his hairline get fixed and look like Travolta now? How does his body bulk up to look like Travolta's? That part makes no sense.
To me, it's just like, I don't know, man. At that point, do you even really need to do the mission? Like, he got him and Pollux in custody. Just let the people die at that point if there is a bomb. It just makes no sense to me. It just never sat well with me. I didn't understand that, but probably equally didn't sit well with me is if you remember when Castor Troy wakes up with no face. What's going on there, dude? The guy's just in some, I don't know, semi-pseudo hospital with A, no guards, B, no restraints, and C, no nurses.
Right.
Like if he's in a coma.
What if he died?
Sure. I don't know, dude, but it's like, I did not understand why this guy doesn't have 24 hours. He's the top guy, criminal terrorist in the world.
Right.
Like, make sense of that for me.
Well, you would think that he would be in restraints, number one. Number two, there would be some kind of nursing staff there to make sure that this guy doesn't die. I mean, I don't even know why it's necessary that the guy's alive. Why didn't they just kill him after
That's a good point.
They swapped the dude's faces?
Yeah.
But they kept him alive for some reason. Maybe, we can't. Dude, we're the good guys. We don't kill people.
Well, his face was face was still off. They didn't bother putting his face back on. So it's even more of the point. It's like, to your point, if they can keep the face alive, right, for Sean to be able to put it back on, just kill his body. Mm-hmm. But
exactly.
They were going to have to, do their due diligence and have justice and go to court for him and all that, I would imagine. But it's just so funny because he just sits up and he has access to a phone right by his bed, calls his cronies, and then they just go nab the doctor. And then it's so insane. Like, I don't know. It just bothered me.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of things. If we can go, we could really deep dive into this and be like, wait a second. What if Castor Troy was uncircumcised and Sean Archer was circumcised? Now, just that sounds very ridiculous. I understand, folks. It's very ridiculous. But later in the movie, Castor Troy, as Sean Archer, has sex with Sean Archer's wife.
Right.
Right? So imagine if they had two different sizes going on down there. She'd be like, wait a second, dude, what happened to your junk?
I can tell you how you know it's me. Look at my dick. Right?
Bro,
I can prove it.
But it goes to show you, they just assume, they want you to just kind of go along with the fact that, oh yeah, they look exactly the same now. They just swap bodies as well, but they didn't.
Yeah.
The movie, folks, is called Face Off, not Body Off. Face Off.
It's true. I hate to nitpick, but that little bit there they could have figured something out. But as much as I'm nitpicking, I will say I do like in that scene where they reveal his faceless body through the doctor's glasses. Like it's a reflection off the lens of his glasses. And you can kind of make out, it's obviously Nick Cage, but like there's, I don't know, it's kind of warped his face, but it kind of gives you an idea of what a face, an actual head without a face would look like. I think it's kind of blurry, but they do a good job with it. I think it's believable.
They really do a good job of not like barely giving you a glimpse of his gory, faceless head.
I liked it.
And it's funny because what's he doing? Smoking a cig.
Yeah, face.
Like, what do you want? Take a wild guess.
Yeah, dude, that was good. But another crazy thing was there when he goes to jail in the prison scene. It's like they all are walking around with these Super Mario Bros. Movies. Like, remember the Super Mario's movie from like the 90s?
Yeah.
What the hell was that? I can't remember who the actor was in that. The dude from Spawn. And bro, it's like
John Leguizamo.
Thank you. And it's like, what are they rocking these boots for, bro? Like, is this like in the future?
Exactly, dude?
What's going on here?
That's exactly like this. This is one of those instances where I'm like, they're just throwing crazy stuff in this movie for no reason. They're just like, yeah, this is a cool thing where he's in prison. And by the way, these boots, they're almost totally meaningless in the actual story.
Exactly.
We're like, yeah, we got these magnetic boots in here, and the whole time he's in there, he's just zipping around. There's one scene where they turn the boots off and they beat him up.
Yeah.
But every other scene, it's completely a non-factor. Like, someone in the production was like, hey, we need to spice this scene up with something crazy.
Exactly.
Why don't we throw magnetic boots on? The same ones from Mario.
But it's funny because they're rocking these like DOS computers when he's doing the bomb sequence. But then you have these high-tech futuristic boots, right? Which, by the way, the DOS computer, like with the chicks that are topless, is kind of a nice touch. I thought that was cool. But
I totally agree. I love computer stuff from the 90s where you're like, this is what hacking looks like.
Oh yeah, boy. Yeah, I just thought that was completely insane. But and in that scene where he gets broken out, I'll tell you what, the dude who I guess he gets in an initial fight with him and then they're electrocuting him.
Yeah,
that guy's kind of my low key actor of this movie. I'll tell you what. That guy kind of rules in the scene where they're breaking out.
Every person in this movie goes on to have some kind of career, including this guy.
Oh yeah.
He's been in a ton of things, and he's kind of just this. I guess he's a Russian in this movie.
Yeah.
I just thought about that now. He's got some Russian accent. Kind of just this, and he goes out a hero.
Yep.
He just gets dropped. He gets dropped from like the third floor, and he takes a look back. It was like, whatever.
Yep.
I just thought about that when he gets dropped off the friggin' third floor. Like, oh well, let's continue the movie.
He's the most badass dude. But no, another one of those was the guard, which, by the way, that guy's awesome in everything. Zodiac, I can't remember his name, but Fargo, I believe, and he's kind of, I don't really want to say mundane in this movie, but it's kind of lackadaisical, his character, even though he's supposed to be like the mean, badass prison guard, like lead guard.
Yeah.
But could have got more from him.
Thomas Jane's one of the prisoners.
Yeah.
The guy that plays Punisher. Kind of wild. It was like, oh, there's Thomas Jane. Wow. Another super small role. But yeah, I mean, every actor in this, you can go through the whole list. Yeah. This is a good one for IMDb to check out on
Danny
because every actor just.
How about Danny Masterson?
Masterson, holy smokes! They cast Danny Masterson, who is a real life rapist. Wherever he goes, he must rape. But he's a real life rapist, and in this movie, he attempts to rape Sean Archer's daughter.
Completely insane.
Think about that casting, dude.
Like, well, obviously they didn't know back then, but it's kind of ironic. A,
maybe they did.
And B, he's like one of those method actor They're like, we got to go with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a method actor.
He's a method dude. I need everyone on set to just assume that I'm gonna rape you. Like, everyone just act like I'm a rapist on set. I'm a method acting this one.
But yeah, dude, it's wild because he's trying to rape the top agent. I don't even, is that FBI, whatever they are, whatever. I can't remember what group they're with, but
yeah, FBI.
The top FBI agent's daughter in his car in her driveway.
Yeah, like, what? Dude, what are you doing? Like, this guy might be inside. He might, I don't know, arrest you.
Yeah.
For attempting to rape his daughter. He might, I don't know, shoot you because they have guns and are probably get away with murder, especially in this scenario. But what he pulls them out of the car, and it's like the most vicious kick to the nuts.
Dude,
they made a point to be like, yes,
I heard that.
We're kicking this man in the genitals.
Yes. Yep. Even when he kicks out the window or whatever, it's so loud.
It's super loud. It's like, holy smokes, they went crazy in the sound department here. They pulls him out, and it's like, bro, you just kicked him in the nuts so hard. Like, you sent his nuts into his head. It's crazy.
How about the scene where he goes back to the hideout and it's revealed that the kid is Castor Troy's son? Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, the chick in that, I guess it would be Castor Troy, and then the bald cells, who's, I guess, now the father-in-law. His girl, what do you think of her?
Gina Gershon?
Yeah.
She's hot. She's attractive. I would like to have the sex with her. Even today.
Very much unlike Sean's wife.
Would. Yeah, I mean,
but that scene though, it's pretty wild. I'll tell you the only thing that stood out to me in that entire scene. Ready for this?
The
only thing that stood out to me in this scene was seeing Louis Carruthers from American Psycho. Now,
yeah,
I shouldn't know that actor's name, but he's just standing. I see him clapping for Sean when they give him a bottle of wine or something, or whatever. He comes back and he makes the bust or whatever. Stops. I think it was when he stopped the bomb from going off, and he's like clapping. It's like, wait, that's Louis. That's Louis from American Psycho. And then, dude, they're in this like crazy shootout in the hideout, and full body kit, body armor with a nade launcher is Louis Carruthers. I'm like, what? Dude, you couldn't have picked anybody else on this planet to be that guy who's going to roll in with that. It's this dude, this dink.
Very strange looking actor, I would say. He looks, I don't know, something about his eyes look like real crazy. He goes like, hey, why are you upset? It's just Polished Troy. And then not knowing that it's Castor Troy.
Yeah.
He's Archer's face. He just gets up, shoots him right between the eyes and the head.
Yeah.
Dude, his loadout is actually rad. I looked it up and I was like, oh, damn, dude, this is like an M4 with an attached M203 grenade launcher underneath it. And I'm like, this is actually my shit hit the fan loadout. Okay.
Go on.
They need to change the laws. Folks, look, they need to change the gun laws. It doesn't make any sense why you can't have a short barreled rifle in this country. You can okay. I'm going to get,
hit him
when
with
they
it.
Change the laws.
Hit him with it.
I'm going to get a full auto M4 with an attached M203 grenade launcher. All right. I should have one of them. I feel like I have the right to one per the Constitution. Okay? You got these laws like, oh, you can't have automatic weapons unless you pay us a bunch of money. You can't have grenade launchers. That's too dangerous.
Oh boy, here he goes.
Anyway, his loadout's kind of right. I'm a fan, huge fan.
Well,
the fact that he has a grenade launcher is a little overkill for this mission, but
it made no sense for me. But I don't know. It's the 90s, whatever. Go with it. But talk to me about, I guess it's kind of the final sequence is the funeral and just the the general vibe leading up to that scene. It's like kind of insane, but kind of love it. Very 90s.
Yeah, I mean, that's the funeral scene. It's where you get John Woo like isms coming out, where the slow motion walks.
Yeah. Okay.
The duster. I don't know if you know if he has it. He has like this suit on, and he's got dual Berettas in this scene now. So like, think about this: if you're concealed carrying weapons, right? Berettas are already giant weapons, but now this guy's got a suit on, and they never kind of explain in movies where exactly people are carrying their weapons, especially if they're wearing suits.
Right.
Anyway, he's got dual Berettas and he's dual wielding these things, and they have the doves coming out. Doves, folks, there's doves in this scene for some reason. Like Nick Cage walks in and there's doves flying in the background. It's completely insane.
It's meaningful. It's painting the picture. It's symbolism.
A quadruple Mexican standoff happens. They're all pointing guns at each other. And then when they all start firing, the camera zooms in on the gun.
Yeah, dude.
To show you, in my opinion, how absurd it is that not everyone gets killed immediately.
Well, that's a good point, though. Yeah, it's to hide it. But yeah, are you? I know you obviously watched it, but there's this part where Sean, for lack of, because I get so confused with the characters trying to say who's who. But Travolta jumps behind one of the pews, right? And Cage is standing there and shoots at him. And then he just does a spin move, full 360, which gives him no tactical advantage whatsoever because he's right back to where he starts, looking right where he was. Like, what was that about? That was definitely Nick Cage just going for it. Like, just leave that in there.
I actually saw an interview where they were talking about that, and he was like, John Woo is like a dancer. He's putting on a stage show. Yeah, performance. And, it adds to the look of it, even though
the camera does swipe a little bit. So it kind of, I guess it does, but just practicality wise, it doesn't do it for me.
Right. We're watching this, 30 years later. And we've seen all these tactical movies and everything. Yeah. And it's like, this makes zero sense. Right. It's funny though. One thing I thought of, the other night was there's a transition where it goes from the church to the boat scene. Right. And this whole movie, right? There's these shootouts and there's just sparks flying and seemingly no one can actually shoot each other. Their aim is incredibly bad. Everyone in this movie. No one's actually shooting at each other in this movie, right? Despite hundreds of rounds going off. Even the prison scene, the hideout scene, right? So it transitions though, right at the end where, Travolta is running to a boat. First, he's walking out of the church. These two cops come up and they think it's Sean Archer, but it's actually Castor Troy with Archer's face. Yeah. And they're like, "Hey, sir." And he just guns them down immediately for no reason. And then he goes up to the boat, the speedboat, and the guy's like, "Whoa, whoa." And he just like looks around. It just like shoots them. Then they're on the boat chasing scene and the harbor patrol's coming. He just puts up I think he's got an MP5 in the scene, of which he fires like 100 rounds, no reload. And he just shoots the harbor patrol too. So he's actually, at long last, at the end of the movie, you actually see Castor Troy killing people and successfully shooting them.
When you say no reload, how many rounds does that hold typically?
30.
Okay. Just making sure. No, but dude, the boat scene for me was actually kind of badass. He's doing these stunts where he's holding down the chain or rope or whatever on the side of the boat. Like body surfing almost. It's actually I thought it was pretty cool. Not gonna lie.
But yeah, good stunt work too.
Exactly.
Like that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what went into doing that scene, but that guy holding onto the chain.
Yeah.
Outside the boat and then kind of.
I was curious myself.
Surfing.
Like, you definitely can't get away with that on sets these days. I can attest to that. There's no way you're getting away with that. But yeah, then that kind of leads up to the end sequence there, which they have their final face off, if you will. I don't even know, dude. It's completely insane.
He shoots him with a harpoon in the chest.
That's it. End of movie. Goodbye.
He's like, die. He just yells, die. And it's like, dude, whoa. Like, I think he's dead already, bro.
Dude, that's what, like I said at the beginning here, is what kind of confused me, because I'm thinking to myself, okay, you still need his body to get back onto, like, the face back on. So, you might not want to kill him. So I'm thinking to myself, rewatching, I'm like, how's he gonna not actually kill him, but subdue him? And they just, oh, he's dead. Okay, cool.
See, I had the same thought. I was like, okay, they have a chance in this movie to do that thing where, like, no, I need him alive.
Right.
Because I need his face.
Oh.
Right? But they never did that in this movie. They were, like, just straight up trying to kill each other the whole time.
Yeah.
But that does make you wonder, though, like, if there wasn't, like, a hospital or ambulance immediately responding to that, and the guy died, like, what if he died and on the boat,
right,
and got launched into the water?
Yep. Does
Sean Archer just now have Castor Troy's face on the rest of his life?
Yes.
Or are they gonna maybe they'll 3D print a new face for him, like they did Lewis Carruthers' ear earlier in the movie?
Well, by the way, yeah, that ear sequence when they're rendering that, it actually was pretty cool for 1997. I thought that was pretty badass. It looked good, but and
hear me out. Face Off is actually soft disclosure. They have this technology right now.
Oh boy,
you cannot trust anyone you see. It could be FBI agent.
Well, enough shitting on this movie, because I feel like that's all we did, but we do love it. I mean, that's fact. But any last thoughts on this thing? Final conclusions?
I just think that this movie, I think one of the funniest things that we kind of touched upon briefly, and is that when he goes to the hideout, when Castor Troy goes to the hideout, he's given a box of just items.
Yeah.
But unlike earlier in the film when he got the box, this box has 2 of the custom 1911 pistols in it.
Yeah.
Which suggests that he just keeps a spare set.
Right. Because he got arrested and they would have been taken away. Right. At the
So 4 pistols, 4 1911 pistols actually exist in the Face-Off world. In the world of Face-Off. Now they're all taken, I guess.
No.
The FBI owns now 4 of them.
He just respawned a new pair, that's all.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing real. I mean, like, I think this movie is just art. I think it's
a good way of putting
craziness.
I like
that. What's your Kino rating?
Man, I'll tell you, I can be critical as seen here, but if it were, I don't know how to say that, but I'm going to go 8. Okay. 8 because maybe there's a little nostalgia in there. Maybe, I would just say, piggybacking on what you said, it's kind of art. You know what you're getting in this movie. But yeah, just there's good acting. I think, again, it might not be the best writing, but for 1997 with these explosions and all that, and just the concept of the whole face coming off is pretty unique for me. Like that right there is a selling point. Like, give me a face-off idea for a movie in 2025.
Right.
Can that happen? Can they come up with something like that? They're not even capable.
Dude, I don't think so.
Of doing that these days.
They're not capable of it, dude.
Thank you.
Any kind of original ideas like this, dude.
This is an original ass idea, dude. So, so forgive me when I'm being skeptical and saying, "Oh, well, they could have just done this," or they just could have. I'm saying that, in jest, but in actuality, it's cool because I want to see this movie happen.
Yeah, like I give this an 8 as well. In that, I don't think that the story is, phenomenal. There's a lot of stuff in this story where I'm like, oh my God, this is slop. But it's superseded by the fact that the zaniness of what you're witnessing on screen, what crazy stuff that's going on. Cage, Travolta on 11, But think about this idea real quick is the idea that they had to take a chance on making this.
Yeah.
This is the chance. It's not guaranteed that a movie like this is going to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
They gave this a summer blockbuster budget. It comes out in the middle of summer, right? They don't have to do that anymore because, well, that might be changing.
Yeah, exactly.
With this latest Marvel movie, I think was another flop, but they don't have to do that because all the comic books are written. So they just they're like, oh, we can just hire some Joe Flipperhead off the street. So we'll just take the story that's already written and reform it into a script.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep, you're right.
This is like a chance. They took like a insane chance. Like, hey, I have an idea. How about we have surgically remove Travolta's face and put him on Cage and vice versa? Like please, someone find the head guy in Hollywood, whoever he is, and please just give John Woo $1 trillion.
Yeah, there you go.
And make Face Off too, dude.
Yeah, they love doing that. You know, making sequels and redoing old movies. So go for it. But yeah, no, that's all I got. Anything else you got?
No, that's it, folks. I mean, Face Off. There you have it.
Catch you on the next one.
See ya.